kind of a snooze fest right now. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine.
And honestly, I don't want to talk about the Kelsey Taylor thing until I
don't either.
I just can't tell if it's real or not. I'm struggling with it.
It's real.
I know, but this is not how she acts. She's normally not like this with people.
What, like a 5-stage clinger? Or you don't
no,
see it
she's
that way?
not being a 5-stage clinger at all. But it's like she's
think,
really getting deep into the whole NFL thing, and it's so weird.
Well, right.
It's
well,
so
she did.
weird.
She did. The NFL did ask her if they could play some of her
Yeah,
songs.
she said
and she's
no.
like, no, fuck no.
Yeah.
So I think she's.
I
just
can't
like,
believe she's going to another game. I'm like, what is this?
I think
who is this? But you know what? She's been doing it another way, and it's not working out. So maybe she's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do
what I want to do.
Yes.
And I mean,
I love
I'm sorry,
her.
but a lot of celebrities go to these games.
Oh yeah.
And most of the time, they don't get attention because no one cares.
And honestly, she's going to start going on tour, and it's an international tour. It's not
gonna
the United
end.
States.
Yeah, this is
she's going to move
temporary.
on.
I think she's just having fun.
I hope she is. And I hope they're having. God, I hope they're having
amazing
hot
sex.
sex.
But he is an athlete, and a lot of times they do talk about getting distracted when you're playing.
His ex has already said, she goes, I love Taylor Swift.
She looked like a motherfucking idiot.
She's like, but he cheats. And I'm like, why are you even doing anything?
And not only that, right?
Stop
Not only that,
it.
but she said, I saw a clip of her on TikTok. It was such an awful look for her. I'm like, God, bitch, shut the fuck up.
Please don't.
Don't do it. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I don't care that he's dating Taylor Swift. She's like, I mean, I had him first. And I'm like, why would you say that? I'm like,
that's such a bad look.
it is.
That is not a girl's girl.
And not only that, but it just looks, it looks desperate.
I hate it. Don't do that to yourself.
Jealous. And they were already long over. So it's like, don't do it. It's like the whole Kourtney Kardashian, what's her name? What's the exes of Travis Barker that he's
Shanna Moakler?
Yes.
They are constantly bugging that woman.
I hate it.
Leave her alone.
Leave her alone.
And she doesn't want anything to do with it either.
But she's doing what's the smart thing to do.
Yes.
It's like, I'm glad he's happy.
Yes.
I'm fine.
What more is there to say?
There's nothing. And but this chick with Kelsey,
well, she's just grabbing her little... I wish she didn't. I wish she did. I wish she would have just risen above it just a bit.
Yeah.
It would have been
like,
nice.
I'm really happy for him if they're dating and they're happy. That's great.
Yeah, done.
Leave it at that.
I'm with you, girl. I agree.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Oh, I'm sure her hindsight's going to be 2020. Like, fuck, why did I say that?
I hope so. All right. Welcome to the Ugly Truth episode. Well, we don't know what episode.
And we don't care.
It could be 633 again. I'm not sure. It's in the 30s.
Well, I did like that little
634.
Yeah, that cute little National Podcast Day, I guess it was.
International Podcast Day was last week.
International Podcast Day.
Were you surprised by our top 3?
I didn't read that. No, all I saw was I assumed that Dub had posted that.
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I asked him to pull the numbers. I said, "Can you give me the top countries internationally?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So it's the United States obviously. United States far and above.
Oh,
India.
Well, I think I knew that. And Nigeria.
And
right?
Nigeria.
Is Nigeria still up there?
Nigeria's in the top 10. You know what? I totally forgot already.
Dang, girl.
I thought it was Canada. Daryl thought it was Canada. Let me see.
So does that mean like...
Oh, no, it's Australia. So it's
shocking.
United States, India, Australia. And
where is that?
Yeah, but Nigeria is in the top. They've been pushed down. They used to be our number one country.
They're over us.
Over United States. It was United States and then Nigeria, but
They're
now...
like, shut up, you white bitches. We're sick of hearing you.
But like the top, off the top of my head and not in any order, Canada, Germany, Australia.
I wonder if it's a
India.
love-hate or if like we hate watch things. I wonder if it's a hate listen.
You would be surprised how many people really enjoy us.
I'm not surprised. Well, I am a
refreshing.
little.
What? You act like we're like terrible. We're not.
No, I don't think we're terrible. We're just so normal. We're like nobody.
No,
so I'm like, why would you want to listen to me?
People like. In fact, we just got a note the other day. I was going to share it with you. Somebody said, "I'm so excited about your mini episodes of The Golden Bachelor."
Oh, God, I am so excited about this show.
They said, "I'm so excited that you're doing another mini episode show." And she's like, "I've been listening since I was 27. I'm 32. I listen every single week. I love your show."
Thank you. Oh my God. And honestly, I wonder, is it for her both? Is it like, yes, I think it's funny your spin on it, and two, I actually also love that show.
Of course.
Because I don't know that I would have watched The Golden Bachelor had we not been looking for something to mini episode on.
And I'm really glad that we chose this one. It was a good suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked it. Anyway.
Me too.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth.
It's light TV, which I love.
It's something that's
I don't have to. It's not deep, and I'm not gonna. Well, I did cry.
Well, we all cried, but I digress. Yeah. So back to reality. I met with our shared gynecologist.
Right.
Now, quickly,
Mr. Graham Cracker.
I love him.
Yes.
Just he's a gem. And we talked about this obviously off the air before.
Good physicians are so hard to come by.
And here's what I love about him, and it's so refreshing. He does not care what you want to do with your body.
Yes.
I can't tell you how refreshing that is.
I agree.
Especially gynecologists.
Well, doctors in general. I never realized how opinionated they were.
They have a very strong opinion about what people should be doing with their bodies. Right. But he said, now I'm sure that if I had a significant health issue, he'd be like, okay, this is really what I strongly suggest you do.
Absolutely.
But generally, I'm healthy. I'm a healthy human. I don't have any issues, really.
He was the first man that told me I was thin.
You should have married him.
Jamie, when he said it, I looked at him. I almost had stars in my eyes.
I said, I could kiss you right now, but it's inappropriate.
And I was like, you're so sweet. And that is such a lie.
That's wonderful. So I wasn't nervous. So they're like, you have to be there half hour early, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because you were a new patient.
Parking is unbelievably difficult.
The office is downtown. Yes.
I got there 40 minutes early and I was 10 minutes late.
Damn it.
What?
I would be pissed.
Yes, it was ridiculous. And I walked in.
I left that early and I'm still fucking late.
Yeah, and I ended up parking and the parking garages were full. I even pulled over because it said valet and I said, can you valet my car? And they're like, well, you have to be at the hospital to valet. Yeah. I'm like, God damn it. I'll give you anything. And
Sacramento
they're like, no.
is one of those downtown places where it's like they want all the things, they want to be forward, but there's no fucking where to park.
There's no parking. And so finally I found in this little suburb area a string of parking spots. The pay parking toll.
Yeah.
What are those things?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to say.
Well, you have to have an app to pay the parking meter.
That's it. It was a parking meter. So I downloaded the app and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'll take the ticket. And I left.
Did you get one?
No, because Daryl, and then what was funny is Daryl goes, what's going on? I go, I'm on my way to the doctor's office. And of course, my phone wasn't working at this point.
You only had speaker.
And I said, I'm on my way. I'm 4 blocks away and I'm walking swiftly. And I said, and I parked at a parking meter and I didn't have the ability to, the app wasn't working.
You had to download it. You had to install it.
I did all that. Well, I did, but it wasn't recognizing the zone that I was in. I'm looking at the number and it's not working and I don't know why. And so I'm like, I don't have time to figure this out.
Yeah,
I'm just leaving. So he has the app and he's trying to do it. He goes, basically all I did was I bought you an hour on the block you're on because you can do that.
Oh, thank God.
And so he goes, so you won't get a ticket. I'm like, okay, thank God. And I didn't. But anyway, I go into the office. It's in a hospital environment.
It is. It's next to the hospital.
It's fine.
But yeah.
It looks like it's an old part of the hospital that they converted into medical
offices. It probably was.
Is what it looks like.
But for as long as I've been going to him, he's been there.
It's fine. And so I go, huge practice.
Yeah.
And
it's lovely too, isn't it?
Apparently, and it was really, really crazy busy for some reason. So I get and she goes, hi, so sorry. It's taking, because there was a line. And so I'm like, oh, that's all right. And so, I did everything, filled everything out. And it's been so long since I've had to introduce myself to a new doctor. It was weird. I'm like, God, I have to tell him I had chlamydia when I was 19. Okay.
Why though?
Why does that matter? They need everything. So I go in.
I never understood that, but okay.
So I
just started lying.
I wore a nice dress. I had a really cute necklace on. And I just thought I should look nice because when I was scheduled, they said, this is just a meet and greet, whatever. I'm like, okay. So I walk in and she goes, okay, stand on the scale for me. And I go, I was told that this was a meet and greet. And she's like, what is that? I go, well, the guys just said I was here just to meet the doctor. And then
I would actually doing an exam.
I would be scheduled for an exam later. She's like, yeah, I don't know why they say that. That's not true. I'm like, oh, so are you saying that I'm getting the full meal deal today? She goes, And I'm like, oh, all right. Shit. Well, thank God I cleaned myself as if I might, because you never know.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
If I hadn't, I would be like, absolutely not. It's not happening.
So
there's no moist towelette that's going to help this situation.
Go into the office. The exam table is 2 feet off the ground. It's very low. And I go, well, maybe this is a new thing. I don't know. So they're like, take everything off and then put this robe on or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Luckily, it's cloth.
Right?
Nobody uses cloth.
I didn't know. They must have changed that.
I've always had to do paper and they've always ripped.
It's terrible.
It was great. And it was huge. So I was swimming in it and was like, this is so
comfortable. And now that I know that they have this, because we actually talked about this before, but now that I know this is an option.
Yeah.
The rest of those doctors, y'all are fucking lazy and cheap.
Just get the damn robes.
Do it.
Pay the cleaning bill.
Thank you.
It's not hard.
It's so worth it to us as patients.
God, and they were humongous, so you didn't feel like I could barely fit in it, the whole thing. So anyway, and they're hospital gowns. That's all they are. So I'm like, all right, well, here's the thing with his doctor's office is that it is like this cold hospital floor.
Yeah.
And I didn't bring socks because I didn't think I was getting a pap smear or a pelvic. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to leave my shoes on and I'm going to ask him. And if he has a problem with it, I'm going to ask for some socks or slippers.
Yeah,
or
they have to have those ones with the little
grippy
on
socks.
The bottom. Right.
Grippy socks.
Everybody has those.
And so I'm like, so I'll just sit here. So I didn't take off my necklace. So here I am completely nude with my necklace and my shoes on. And I'm sitting on this tiny, low examining table.
Oh, God.
And I'm just sitting there. And he comes in with his nurse, you know, because you're never unsupervised, which is lovely. And she just stood along the wall and just didn't say anything. She was just there to observe.
I've actually had pelvics with him where nobody was in the room.
It's happened to me in the past.
Not a lot, but
this was my first day.
Exactly.
So.
I think I was a well-established patient.
Sure.
When it happened.
So I'm just sitting there and he's like, oh, hello. And so we're just talking and, you know, whatever. And he's like, okay, well, so we talked about hormone therapy because I'm of the age that it would be appropriate. Mm-hmm. And I told him my fears on it. And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, look, you can take all the supplements you want, but if you really want to feel different, you're going to have to take some real meds.
I appreciate that.
And I said, I'm just so afraid of gaining weight.
Yeah.
I can't gain weight. When I was on the pill, the mini pill, when I was 20, I gained 20 pounds in a month and that just can't happen.
I'm telling you, I feel like when I started taking I don't know what you call it. When I took the Depo-Provera shot.
Yeah.
That is when it's like it did something to my body that's never gone back.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know if it was my age and maybe I'm just associating it with it because that's when it started. Mm-hmm. But I started taking the Depo-Provera. I only took it for a year because I gained 40 fucking pounds.
Yeah, so it's the same. It's the same. And what I realize it is it's too much estrogen,
perhaps.
And so I
just knew something was happening, and
I was telling him, and I said, "Is this like the mini pill?" He goes, "It's nothing like the mini pill." And I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Because I can't." And I asked him specifically. I'm like, "Be honest with me. How many of your patients gained weight on this?" And he's like, "Literally nobody."
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, fine. I said, just write me. He goes, all right. He writes a prescription. By the time I leave, I'm getting a call from my pharmacy saying, and I'm like, this guy is so good.
He's amazing.
What? It was like a dream. I'm like, I can't believe my sister shared him with me because normally, you know.
Well, you know what? When you're the doctor thing, it's like, it's so unique to the person.
Yes.
And most of the time, for women our age, you've been down that road and but you usually find someone and it's like, no matter what somebody tells you about their doctor, you're like, no, I know what I know. I like what I like. And this is what I'm doing. And I don't care.
But this guy
in this case,
he's truly
and you got him because your doctor retired.
Yes.
And the other OBGYN you found was a quack. And so,
oh my God, so bad.
Yeah. So I was like, well, why not?
God, thank you so much for not gatekeeping. But anyway, so he's like, all right, well, let's get down to business. And I'm like, okay. He goes, why is this so low? And I said, oh, I thought that this is something that you did. He goes, no, this is strange. And so I'm sitting on it. He's all, me. And I'm just sitting there.
Rising.
It's so dumb. I feel so stupid. And then finally he's like, all right. He goes, well, you know, you're going to have to scooch down. I'm like, yeah, I know. I go, but here's the thing.
I know the drill.
And he goes, what? And I said, so I'm wearing shoes. He's like, I'm wearing shoes. Nurse Lucy is wearing shoes. So it's okay to wear shoes. I go, but my paws are going to be by your face in about 5 minutes. And I'm like, and I didn't know if you wanted street shoes near your face. Right. He's like, it's fine. Yeah. And I'm thinking, of all the things in your face at this point, the shoes is not the thing.
The least of my worries.
It's really not a problem.
At least you have a pus-filled vag that I'm about to stick my fingers in, gloved or not.
I don't have pus-filled vag, but thank you. So anyway,
so I don't think the shoes is like necessarily a problem.
The shoes are fine. So I'm like, all right. So he did all the things, didn't feel anything. He was so fast and good.
He's so fast. Great. In fact, I will say this. He's the only doctor. I have had many OBGYNs before him, but he was the first one that made me do what do you call them? A rectal exam?
Oh, a rectal. Oh, yes.
And when he told me he was going to do it, I looked at him like, have you lost your fucking mind? What? And he's like, you've never had, I'm like, no. And he's like, well, that's unfortunate because it's really important.
It's how you feel the back of your fallopian tubes.
I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know the reason because I couldn't get past the fact that he told me he was going to stick his finger in my asshole.
It's an incredibly accurate way to feel the back of a woman's
So
fallopians.
I was filled with distress and anxiety when
He's so fast and good though.
Quick. Yes. Like a ninja.
Like a bunny.
And I was like, all right then. I was like, well, that's all. And, it was lubed and it was so fast.
It's totally fine. In fact, Well, I know you don't like to talk about these things.
Did you just want to stick your finger in my butthole? Because how could you even felt anything in that quick of a minute?
He's very good. Yeah. He's very good. So anyway, he goes, well, you're very healthy. And I'm like, not in a like a you're a healthy woman, but just like no, he goes, no, everything looks amazingly fine. You're very normal, very healthy. And I'm like, awesome. He goes, so now you need to get a mammogram. I'm like, yes. So I go home. He goes, if there's anything funky on your pap smear, I will call you personally. If it's not, you'll just get a letter and that'll be the end of it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I've never had a weird pap, so I wasn't too worried about it. So then I booked my mammogram and I had it on Thursday. This last week, I had it on Thursday. And I always take the first appointment available in the morning.
Get it over with.
As early as possible, because if anything's wrong, I've got the whole day. And they'll make me stay and, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, because I just can't bear the idea of trying to sleep overnight if there's something. I couldn't do it. And it's already anxiety inducing. Ask anybody. God, they're awful. They're scary. Very. You're like, if you find anything weird, I'm always looking at my tech. Like, is there a sign? I'm always.
But they're so good at hiding. They can't.
The one time I had a questionable mammogram.
Oh, God.
I knew it. She's like, all right, thank you. And I was like, something's not right. And sure as shit, I got a call from my doctor saying,
scare me.
They saw something. It's very normal. They don't think it's cancer, but they want a second look. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, should I go tomorrow? And they're like, no, it's not an emergency. And I'm like, for who? Because it's an emergency for me.
Well, the thing is here's what I appreciate about imaging when it comes to that. That they, first of all, it's very subjective.
Yes.
So what your eyes see, what a doctor's eyes, a trained eye sees versus another trained eye is very different.
Yes.
But I appreciate the fact that they are so thorough and like, you know what? It's probably nothing. It looks like nothing.
Right.
But I am just going to check for this woman's sake.
I love it.
Because if I'm wrong, then guess what? She has breast cancer and I just blew it off.
Exactly. So that call, I immediately had an anxiety attack. I couldn't hear anything anymore. My ears were ringing hard. And so he's like, just call, da, da, da. So nobody called me. So I called them. I'm like, how come no one's called me about this? I need to. They're like, okay, all right. And I'm like, see, and in my mind, I'm like, this is why you have to advocate for yourself because this is how women die. So I get the appointment to go back.
We slip through the cracks and the next thing you know, you're saying goodbye.
Yeah, you're like, well, they said they'd call me. And it's like, no. So I called. I got very aggressive. And then I get the appointment. And I go in and they do the sonogram. Everything's fine. But it was like a week before I was going in. And Daryl's like, honestly, if it was anything bad, they would have had you come in immediately.
100%.
And I'm like, I don't know. This is the United States healthcare system. You don't know that for sure.
Well, you're right about that.
So,
and it is better to have that attitude.
When I tell you that the night before the second follow-up, I was not preparing for my death.
Oh, Jamie.
Were you
on wills.com?
No, but I did update that. But I also was listening to sad music.
Jamie.
I was in my room contemplating my life, going, this could be the last night of normalcy.
Because tomorrow everything will be different.
Tomorrow,
when they tell me the news.
I will be shaving my head and someone will do it in unison with me, and I will have a GoFundMe now, and people will be trying to wear pink. And Daryl comes in, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, na, 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 na. Well, I love my life. Oh my God. I don't know. I'm insane. Anyway, everything ended up being fine. So I go to this mammogram a couple days ago or a week ago. And the lady is Judy or Judith or something like that. I love her. She's been giving me mammograms for however long I've been doing them.
Long time.
And
5 years, 10 years maybe?
Something. Yeah, like 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe a little longer. Long. But anyway, she comes in and she never remembers me because you know how many boobs she sees a day? I mean, my God. And so, but ultimately halfway through, she starts to realize, oh, I remember you.
You're familiar, yeah.
Yeah, because I always ask her personal questions. Always. I'm like, how's your son? Is he still a sheriff? She's like, no, he decided that he didn't want to do that. It's too dangerous, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get it.
So in her mind, she's going, because she knows things about me. I've seen her before. We've obviously talked. Who is this person?
She can also see the records that she's the one that does all the imaging. So ultimately she remembers. And so we were talking about, like, she went to the Pittsburgh Steelers game in Vegas, blah, 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 because she's a Steelers fan.
Fun.
Then she tells me she's retiring in January.
You're like, what?
And I was like, congratulations.
You're like, but
fuck.
Who's going to do my mammograms now?
Because I even told her, I'm like, well, you always do them. And it always makes it so much easier for me because I know you and you're so comfortable.
Well, we have so much anxiety.
And she's like, well, unfortunately, this is probably my last one. I'm retiring in January. I'm like, oh, that's so good.
In your mind, you're like, great.
So anyway, we go through the thing. She was very thorough, and I was like, are you being very thorough because you see something, or are you just being very thorough?
You're just like me.
It could be because this is the last one. And maybe she was just doing a really good job. And I felt like she spent a little too much time on my left boob, but I don't think so. I'm just being ridiculous. And
maybe she just wasn't getting the right image she wanted.
Right. And so then, and
that's most likely what it was.
But I have started hormone therapy, and my boobs are a bit swelly. Ugh. So that could be it as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was done. She goes, all right, you're done. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm like, well, hope everything goes well. She goes, I don't see any problems. Like, she doesn't tell me anything, but she goes, I think you're good. But I said, well, I guess this is it. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like,
should we hug? And
I'm like, well, it was good knowing you. And I hugged her.
Oh, Jamie.
And I said, thank you for everything. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is the best breakup I've ever had.
Right.
And so then I, right off into the sunset. And so then Saturday morning rolls around, and nowadays you can just sign up for your health. You can get all your test results online before your doctor ever calls you. I think it's the worst thing ever.
I know, huh?
I hate it.
I forget about it, but when I do remember,
good morning, Jamie. Your test results are in. I'm like, what? They're already in? My mammogram results are already. She said a week, and then I'm freaking out.
They tell you the longest, so that way if you don't get them, you're not like, oh, why is it taking so long?
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not looking. I am not looking. He goes, well,
I would have looked.
He goes, you don't know how to read them anyway. I'm like, I could read it. I know what abnormality
says. Yeah, you do.
So I log in, and I'm having my heart is palpitating, and I look, and it's for my fucking pap smear.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, he tested me for HPV and herpes?
Well, Jimmy, it's standard.
I know it's standard.
Do you know how many women say, by the way, my husband's never cheated on me?
Yeah,
and then they're like, well, you have gonorrhea, like, so how'd you get it?
Right.
Not us, but
no, you're right. And so I'm like, well, I guess it's good to know that I don't have those things. But still, I'm like, how strange.
Well, these are the same women who say, when they do have something like that and they confront their husbands, they're like, you must have got it off the toilet seat. They're like, oh yeah, I probably did.
That's so
like,
dumb.
Are you fucking stupid?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, so that's that. And I love that I'm so attached to a woman who doesn't even really know my name.
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. I've had very deep conversations with people that I've only talked to once and that I never talked to again.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just the experience of that when you're doing something that's necessary.
It's true.
That is enough for you to be like, I'm so glad that person was there at that moment because I needed that to get through that thing that I was going through. True. So I do that all the time. People get a lot of stress and anxiety when they deal with the welfare department because it's something that they need so desperately. And they're so scared they're not going to get it or that something's going to go wrong.
It's like, this is my last resort. If I don't get this, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
To me.
And they're so dependent on what the outcome is.
Yes.
And then to be kind and make it easy.
You're like, oh my God, this was not nearly as bad.
And they're so grateful for you.
So grateful.
Because the chances are, that you could get someone who's fucking horrible.
And they don't care.
That they're mean, they don't care, and they're incompetent.
It's awful.
So,
and that's very common.
And it happens. So, I mean, when you get the stars align and you get all the things that you need out of that.
It's crazy.
It's really something
crazy
so
relieving.
great. And so hopefully for her as a provider, sounds to me like she's somebody who took pride in her job. She was
so good.
She knows.
She did say that she would come back per diem. Like if they're really busy, she'll come back. I'm like, I really hope you do. That would be amazing. Anyway, speaking of anxiety, do you remember when Mom used to threaten that she was going to call and nominate me for what not to wear?
I do. Now that you say it.
Can I tell you?
I never remember anything until you tell me.
Can I tell you how much anxiety that used to give me?
Did you think she was really going to do it?
I did, because she wanted me to cut my hair and wear smart clothes. And I'm like, I have never seen one what not to wear where I thought it was a good idea.
Right.
Never. They were bad before. They're worse now. I hated it.
I'm telling you.
Stacey and Clinton did such a disservice to so many women. And really, it was those goddamn hairstylists. So they just chop all their hair off.
Why?
I don't know. And it was absolutely ridiculous.
They should revamp that show with new people. I know they're bringing those two back, right?
They are. And so
Same show?
I don't know. And that's the thing is, if
I didn't know they had a falling out. But
they had, well, it was her.
That's what everybody's talking about.
It was her. And well, they were on the Today Show. And so they were like, we repaired our relationship. And she basically said, I did not handle fame well. And Clinton had written a book and she was furious with how he portrayed her, which is so dumb.
Well, he saw her the way he saw her.
But they have made up. They are doing something new.
Well, if they're smart, they're going to go, look, we were never more famous and never made more money than we did back then. Can we figure this out so we can both be rich and famous again?
Right. And what was interesting is, and it's one of the best things I ever saw Stacey London, is she said, I think she's in her 60s now, right?
Probably.
And she said, I regret so much what we did to some of those women because we were homogenizing them. We were taking all their personality out. She's like, I'm a woman now who's like, why can't women have long hair in their 50s? It's so stupid.
Thank you.
It's so dumb. And I'm like, yeah, because it's an archaic way of thinking.
Stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a stereotype.
Stop doing that. And you know what? To be honest with you, one of the reasons why I never got on that bandwagon for that particular show, and I didn't. I've watched many episodes of it. I'm not saying that I didn't.
Oh, yeah, we watched it.
But I kind of hate watched it. And
I did too.
I was never like a diehard fan where I had to watch the show.
I never enjoyed the reveal.
I just felt it was condescending to me.
It was very patronizing.
To the women. Yeah.
Yes.
But I also didn't like the fact that this person who was deciding what I should look like and what I should wear, I thought she was ugly.
Yeah.
She wasn't like so drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't even mean like her features that we can't control. Like we're born how we're born, right?
The only thing that I loved about Stacey London was how she said "on pure waist." I fucking loved it, and she loved a good jean.
But she also liked a pointy shoe, and I don't like pointy shoes.
Very 90s. Very 90s.
Well, it should never have been a thing ever in any year. Who wants to look like a witch?
Do you remember that there was one woman, and because they get like a budget and they have to go shopping on their
Daryl,
own.
if I'm blowing your ears up, he's probably like, ah!
No. There was a woman, and you get I think it was like a $1,500 Visa card or whatever, and you had to buy shoes, and you had to buy, on your own, you had to come up with your outfits.
I think it was $5,000.
This one woman went to a shoe store and bought like $3,000 worth of shoes and bags. And I'm like, she's my hero. That's what I would do.
She's like, fuck the clothes.
I'm buying these YSL boots
that I would never be able to afford.
I will have and I will pass them along to my children. I'm keeping these boots.
Absolutely.
I am in Manhattan, for God's sake.
Well, bags even more so.
Oh my God.
Because shoes, you have to walk in them, right? And you're not going to wear them every day, so you can't make them last. But I would have done the same thing. I feel you.
I'd be like,
so down.
I'd be like, bestie, $5,000. I'm going to YSL.
I don't know about you, but since we're talking fashion talk, I've never been a huge fan of the Hermes, Birkin, all of that.
It's not my style.
Square and boxy looking, and I just don't find them inspiring in any way.
People buy them for investment pieces.
I guess, but what's the point?
I don't know.
If you're, it's a fashion item and you're going to wear it
or not, you'll just keep it and then sell it someday.
That's dumb. Then that's
weird.
Then unless it's art and it hangs on my wall, I'm not buying a fucking bag that's going to sit in my closet.
Agreed. Anyway, with that being said, I believe they're revamping What Not to Wear. I will be watching it. I will be so curious. How they do it. It's got so much potential.
Well, that's one of the things I love when they bring back shows that we loved, but as we've progressed and moved forward, you look back and be like, God, if we would have done blah, blah, blah. And you can do that.
Now you can do it.
And people will be like, I loved that show, and now I love it even more. Or it can be the opposite, and they can completely ruin it and make it way worse.
I don't know, but I love Stacey and Clinton. I think they were great together. I'm glad they worked it out, and I'll be so curious how they go this way.
Yeah,
like what will they do? Because for me, Mom's like, I'm going to nominate you for that. You need a new wardrobe. I'm like, Mother, I am not cutting my fucking hair. Oh my God. I'm not cutting my hair.
I don't know. You know what? Every time I hear these things, and a lot of them I remember when you tell me, but I've forgotten, until you remind me. And I just wonder why. Why?
Because it's archaic thinking.
But why would you break your child down? And
because the way that society was for so many years, women, quote unquote, grew up. It's just like Little House on the Prairie. They wore braids and then they became women and they put a bump in a bun.
True.
And they look like matrons.
I know.
And it's kind of the same thing that matriculated throughout society. Women were little girls, they became mothers, and they chopped their hair off. And they have a smart haircut, or they have those super short bouffant hairdos because it was the style.
Right, but at the same time,
only girls had long hair for so long. And then in the 70s, when the hippie movement and the ERA and all women had like hair down to their ass,
Cher.
it was a protest.
Right.
Of the
we're no longer going to be your church going wife.
We're not gonna wear bras and pantyhose and short hair and
do all these
things
for other people. We're gonna
be free. And I really relate to that.
No, I do too. But there's part of me, and I guess maybe I can't understand it because I wasn't there and I didn't get raised that way. But I just remember when I raised my daughter, I didn't have stereotypical influences in my life. And I don't know if it's because it was in the 90s and it was different. But I think we're a product of going completely polar opposite from our upbringing. Because I mean, for me, it's like my kid, I'm like, do whatever you want. 100%.
Wear whatever you want.
And it would hurt me so bad to say something critical of my child.
Yeah.
In any way.
Yes.
I don't care what it was. There's just no way that I would let something come out of my mouth that would hurt my baby.
Right. Well, it's called breaking generational trauma, and we all do it in our own way. And
although every once in a while, my son will say, "Mom, why do you have to say it so mean?" And it's like a knife to my throat when he says it. Because I'm like, what did I say? What did I say, and how did I say it? And I'm like, and he's probably right because his face is so.
You're like, oh shit!
Like,
oh,
damn
God,
it! I'm like, I still do it. I still fucking do it.
Not as much, but I just, no one's perfect.
No, I know.
I mean, we all have our flaws. I mean, I'm incredibly mean.
I hate it.
To Daryl.
I know. My husband's been working at your house this last week doing some things for you guys.
Yes, and he's doing an amazing job.
And he has noticed
he's an artist.
Your relationship with Daryl because he's like a fly on the wall here, right?
Yeah.
And and it's jarring to him.
Why?
Because you guys are so loving and kind to one another most of the time. Like obviously you're not going to do whatever when he's here, but
I would if I had to, but
but you know what I mean?
understand.
So you know what I mean? And it's very natural for you guys, and I'm used to it. It's always been that way for me with you guys.
You've seen us.
For me, it's like, oh, whatever. That's
She's
just
like, God, they're so peaceful.
But suddenly he's doing these comparisons about God, they have such a different relationship and I could go on and on and on about all the reasons why. I'm like, dude, do you really want to go there?
Do you really if you want to break down a relationship, we can.
I'm fine with that. But basically, and the other thing he's mentioned is that he literally cannot. He thinks that when you talk, it sounds so much like me.
Oh, totally.
So when you're in the other room and you're talking, he's like, God, is Stephanie here? Yes,
it's true.
So because we do sound a lot alike.
We do.
So I want to tell him, like, my sister and I are we're not twins. We are different. We both have our own,
personalities.
Right. But we're very similar.
We are.
In a lot of ways. Fundamentally speaking, we're very similar.
So what I'm saying is whatever he's doing, you could do and it would be helpful for you.
Pretty much. I'm like, and if Jamie had a spouse that treated or has the history that you and I have, you would probably not be alive.
No. Or you would not be in my brain ever again.
Right. So I'm like,
yes.
We're different but same. And it's
I will say that's funny. I didn't even think about that because I feel like we're so quiet.
I knew it was going to happen.
That's good though, right?
No, it is. Yeah. I knew it was going to happen, and I one of the things about him being so antisocial, and he has his own issues with anxiety.
Of course, we all do.
Like being an introvert and
absolutely
feeling safe at home and not wanting to like socialize or be out.
Totally get it.
And you and I are really the only ones that. Like we socialize with each other for the most part.
I mean, we have social moments, but like this summer we were way social.
You were.
And I was like, I feel like I need to get away. Like I've been telling Daryl this for like a month or two. I'm like, we need to go somewhere and like literally turn off our phones for a week. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of socializing we've done.
Yeah.
And our kids have been so fucking needy. And it's like,
that's never going to end.
I know.
And that's the thing. That's the one thing like you can't shut off. But you can shut off the other things.
Well, and it's fun. It's a horrible because I'm like, it's affecting my life.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to affect it to this way. But, like Malia's been traveling. She's been gone. She's never traveled this long in her life. And she's 23. She's more than capable of being on her own.
But as a parent, it's
I have not been able to
torturous.
I have not been able to focus 100% on anything while she's been gone because I keep thinking, she's so far away. If anything happens, I can't help her. Whatever. And I gave her all the advice I gave her before she left. I'm like, okay, I know this isn't going to happen. I'm just saying worst case scenario. The apocalypse comes and you need to, I'm like, get to an airport. Just get to the airport. All you have to do is get to the airport and everything else will be fine.
Because at some point you'll end up on a plane.
Yes, because.
Even if it takes a week.
Because we will be able to, we will use our mortgage to get you on a plane to get home.
Well, the thing about an airport is it's a central location. So
Yes.
no matter, let's just say that nobody was flying.
Right.
At least for an airport, we're like, okay, it's this many miles to a train or to a bus or to
There's just so
whatever.
many options.
Yeah.
And I just said, if something happens and you have to get home, and I go use Uber Black.
It's safe. It's reliable.
It's professional. Use Uber Black, get to the airport, and we will take care of the rest.
Yeah.
Leave all your shit behind. We can be replaced.
The thing is we've raised these kids to be independent.
They are so independent.
And my daughter is so fucking independent that I'm actually offended when she goes on vacation and I didn't know it was going to happen.
I know.
She's 31, by the way.
She can do whatever she wants.
She's a grown-ass fucking woman.
I know.
And has been living on her own since she was 19.
But I did tell.
She went on a cruise and I'm like, excuse me?
And you didn't tell me?
How did I not know you were going on a cruise?
She's like, well, what?
And she's like, the fuck, Mom, No, I didn't say that to her. But I was thinking it in my mind. But I'm like...
I always tell them this. I'm like, look, you're all adults. Y'all live your life. I see you once a month. It's awesome. It's fine. And I know that's not even going to last forever. It's okay. I said,
it might.
I just want you to know that even into this day and age, even though I don't have the greatest relationship with my mother, I always tell her when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I always tell her when I'm traveling because someone else needs to know that I'm gone. It seems like courtesy to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why. Maybe it's a weird thing of my own.
We've always done it. I stopped doing it.
Well, I mean, I don't.
Not with you.
Or you know what I will do? Well, you tell me when you're traveling.
You know
what I mean? You have to tell somebody.
Oh, absolutely. I never travel without somebody.
So to me, it's like, Lauren, you got to tell someone.
Well, her dad knows everything.
That's true.
Maybe that's where my appalling shock comes from, is because I'm
jealous.
like, I am jealous, but
be.
she's
a daddy's girl.
She has a family in Florida. She's not alone. Her grandmother lives there. Her dad lives there.
That's true.
As much as I can't stand the thought of admitting that his wife has her family lives there, and
everything.
They are technically my daughter's family.
True.
As much as it sickens me to say that out loud, they are. So they all know when she's traveling and stuff.
Really quick before we wrap up, I had an ugly and awkward moment. It made me laugh.
Oh, for God's sake!
Do you have one?
Oh, shit.
No, it's all right. We kind of
every guy. This is the shtick now. Do you have one? No.
Okay.
I might.
Even though you're all awkward. Okay. So this one, I don't know. This has happened to me before. I forgot to shave one of my armpits.
Oh.
I never do that. I'm so fastidious about my body when I'm showering.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast once and they were like, showering isn't supposed to be just leisurely. This is the cleaning station for your body. Like you do all the things in there so that you are presentable and clean and normal for the rest of the day. Anyway, so I get in. I couldn't remember if I had shaved. So I'm like, well, did I? I'm like, oh, I'm sure I did.
Like I always do. Isn't it crazy how things you do every single day, you start to forget whether you did them because you do them so often?
And then I woke up the next morning and I'm like, why do I feel like I went camping? Because one pit was scratchy. And I'm like, this is disgusting. And I was like, oh my God, I really didn't. Okay. And then I have some would you rathers.
Okay.
Would you rather go on a cruise knowing you'll endure stormy weather, but you won't sink? Or go camping knowing you will encounter a large bear, but it won't kill you?
Oh, gosh. Well, I do have some unreasonable fears of the sea.
Me too.
I mean, you do more than me. You wouldn't even go on a cruise in the past. No. But I think I have trauma related because Jerry used to make me go out on our 30-foot boat into the fucking ocean. Like we were, like your Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
And so I have nightmares about that.
So you would rather encounter a large bear?
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily, as long as I know it's not going to kill me, then I'm okay with that.
You're not going to die in this scenario.
Right.
I'm with you. I'd rather encounter the bear. But you know what's funny is I've seen videos of people come across like a grizzly or whatever. Yeah. And these things are so honking large.
They're huge.
It's terrifying.
They are fucking huge.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. And in real life, in this scenario wouldn't work because they probably would kill you.
Yes.
If you encountered one.
True. All right. Would you rather live to 100 but barely make it financially, or live to 65 and have all the money you could ever want?
That's a hard one.
I know.
Because I've heard people, I've never had money, and I've heard people say that, that the years they have with their family and loved ones are more important than the money they had. Mm-hmm. And I have to believe that's true.
Yeah. I want to live to 100.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I want to live to 100 because I was just talking about this the other day, actually. I want to live to 100 so that people can ask me. They'll be like, dude, you were alive when so-and-so happened.
I'm like,
that's how
it's all cracked up to be, because I work with 20-year-olds. And when I say certain things, like the other day, we stumbled upon a conversation about 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
And the responses were, oh, yeah, I was 3 when that happened.
Malia was a year old when that happened.
I mean,
I know.
Try having, and you're like, I'm like a fucking relic.
And I'm like, I was on a plane 2 weeks before it happened.
Well, I was going to work that day, and I had a kid in, it was in middle school.
It was very scary. Would you rather have poison oak on your boobs or itchy mosquito bites on your ankles that lasted for 6 months?
That's a bad one. I think I'd go with the boobs.
Would you? Oh.
I hate it when my ankles itch. Because Jamie, we're weird. We pick things and we can't stop.
Oh my God. Once I had a mosquito bite on the top of my foot. I scratched it in the middle of the night to a point where it looked like I had a hole.
Thank you.
I have a scar.
So if I had them on my ankles for 6 months, they'd have to amputate it. They'd be like, you have gangrene because you have scratched yourself to the bone.
I'd be like, that's fine. Take them off. I hate it. I hate them anyway. I don't even want to look at them anymore. It's fine.
Oh God.
Okay. Would you rather be around people who brag all the time or who complain all the time?
Oh fuck, they're both equally as annoying.
They're awful.
I probably would go with complain.
Yeah, I can probably relate more, right?
Yeah.
Bragging is so annoying.
It's so fucking annoying. And you know what?
So annoying.
I hate myself. Because when I met my husband, we were friends, right?
Yes.
We were next door neighbors. And he was a bragger, and I fucking hated it.
What did he brag about?
Everything.
Really?
It was so goddamn annoying. And he wasn't bragging. It was like literally subconscious. Like he didn't know he was an asshole.
That's so interesting.
He didn't know he was a douchebag. But I have made him see the error of his ways, and so he barely speaks now because he's afraid.
You've just broken his spirit.
I have.
He's a broken man.
But he gets it now. So
okay, so you have found, and we're not talking about our current spouse. This is completely fictional.
Got
okay?
it.
You have found the love of your life.
Okay.
There's one wrong thing though. There's one bad thing about
Doesn't
them.
have a nose.
Would you rather deal with the love of your life, have chronic halitosis
I knew it!
that cannot be cured,
I knew it.
or chronic body odor that cannot be cured?
Oh God, shoot me. Oh Lord. No, I can't. I couldn't. He wouldn't be the love of my life.
You're like, I'm sorry. I know we're
Those are
meant for
both
each other,
deal breakers.
but I can't do it.
Jamie, I can't.
I think I would go with bad breath.
God, that is so disgusting though.
I know, but...
And they're near your face.
Well, you can have doggy style sex, so they're nowhere near your face all the
time. So
no
kissing, no hugs.
I think that you could... I mean, there wouldn't be any deep French kissing for sure.
I almost feel like that's a must in an intimate relationship. Not all the time.
No, but
I'm definitely not French kissing my husband all the time.
I just don't know if I could... Here's why I say this. Here's why I choose it. It's so revolting. When I worked at an insurance company, I was in my early 20s. And there was a person who worked there who was very interested in me. And I didn't like him because he had curly hair. And I'm not into that. I don't like curly hair.
Isn't it funny the things that...
I never liked it.
I mean, I don't like facial hair of any sort. If you have a beard, we're done.
Yeah, it's just not a thing for me.
Okay, same. By the way,
and it wasn't. He might have been Jewish, but I don't think that was even it. He wasn't. Wait,
why do Jewish people have curly hair?
Sometimes.
Okay,
but that's beside the point. Anyway, he was fine enough. He was tall. He was okay, but he had curly hair, and I just couldn't with it.
He's like Percival.
So the problem is that he had that disorder where you have body odor all the time.
Oh no.
Where you literally have to have like surgery or you use like industrial. They have like medical grade deodorant. I think. I don't know.
Prescription.
Yes,
yeah.
I believe. I didn't know much about it back then. I just remember going, why does he always smell?
I can't.
He also used to change his shirt like 3 times a day.
Well, at least he tried.
Because he sweated. Because he was sweating a lot. Anyway, why do people always try to fix me up with these broken toys? I do not know, but they try. And it's because I was single and they're like, you're so cute, blah, blah, blah. You should be. And I'm like, but this is a broken toy.
And why would I want it?
I don't want this one. And they're like, he drives a Camaro. And I'm like, so what? So anyway.
You have to be a Lamborghini. And even then.
Stephanie,
Jamie, you've never been impressed with things.
I somehow agreed to do lunch or something with this fool to get it off my radar. We get in his cool car, and the whole car smells of body odor. And I'm just like, I wanted to retch. But I was trying to be nice.
Can you imagine that person on top of you?
I also was like, how come no one has told him anything?
Oh, he knows.
But why hasn't anyone said, hey?
But what are you going to do if it's what's the word?
Chronic,
or I mean, if it's medical.
But I didn't. But the thing is I did not know this, and I thought that he was just a man who wasn't aware of his body odor. Because some people, after a while, you don't smell your house.
True,
that kind of thing.
Like people who have lots of cats and they don't know their cat smells like cat piss.
Right, and so it's like I thought maybe it was one of those things where he just didn't smell himself anymore because this is just who he is.
Well, he probably doesn't, but I mean, I'm sure he knew it existed.
So the fact is, we did have a meal, and I just remember, and then we were at a party, like a company party, and he wanted to dance with me, and so I did. And I was like, I finally said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not acting like you don't smell.
Because you do.
Because it's hurting my nostrils, and I want to throw up. I can't do it anymore. Well, and I'm sorry that you smell, and I'm sorry that you can't help it.
And I know it's it's not your fault, but
Stephanie, I confronted him, and I said, look, I know that this is clearly a medical condition, and I am so sorry, but I can't do this.
I can't believe you did that.
And he's like, I understand. And I'm like, maybe surgery, maybe there's something. He's like, well, I'm working on it. And he goes, and then you'll be sorry. And I'm like, I probably will be. Best of luck to you. Like, stop fucking talking to me and get away, Smelly. I don't want to do it.
To be fair.
And I wasn't even attracted to him physically anyway.
Right, even if he hadn't smelled. But that would kill it for you anyway.
I don't feel bad about this, by the way. Wouldn't. I have just like the guy who asked me out, and he was like 5 feet tall. And I'm like, I agreed because people are like, oh, he's so nice and he thinks you're so great.
And you'll look past it after a while once you get to know him.
So I agreed to it. The man had a receding hairline. We were in our 20s. And I know that that's not uncommon, but it's like, why do I look like a genetic. Weak link? I am not a weak link.
No.
I'm just single, and I choose to be single. And people think, oh, she's single because she can't find a nice guy.
Right.
Newsflash, I'm getting laid every weekend. This isn't about wanting a boyfriend, okay? This is because I'm very unwilling to settle.
Thank you.
Back in the day.
You still are.
No, I know.
But I always have been.
When I was a single girl. And so they're like, oh, yeah. And so he's like, literally, I'm supposed to meet him in like 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm not doing this, man. He's like, short. He's literally like genetically recessive. I have no interest. So I call him. And he goes, and he's like, hello. I go, hi, Robert, or whatever his name was. I'm like, listen, we're supposed to meet in like an hour. And he goes, yeah. And I go, I'm not doing it. He's like, why not? I go, it's not fair to you, okay? I go, I'm not interested in you in that way. We'd be going out as friends, and I know that you don't want to go out as friends. And he goes, well, this is really rude. I go, no, what's really rude is if I had wasted your time and gone to dinner with you and money, and you thinking, oh, I might get laid tonight or kiss or whatever.
And it's never happening.
And I go, it's never going to happen. And he was angry, and he hung up on me. That's and you know what? He found his wife and was married in a year.
So good. So maybe now, 30 years later, he looks back and be like, you know what? That girl did me a favor.
I did him a solid.
And by the way, I was having an ego moment. Yeah. And honestly, she was right.
Smelly Shelly has a wife and 3 kids.
Does he really?
Yes. Oh, God. I don't know if he smells. And what if his children have it? I don't know. Well, maybe he fixed it. Maybe he got surgery.
Or maybe there was a woman who was so in love with him that she was willing to deal with it.
She did the would you rather and said, I can deal with the body odor.
No, God bless her.
Your pale, sweaty little body doesn't bother me at all.
Well, you know what?
And you know what? That girl is missing out. I'm like, you know what? Sure. Maybe I am.
Perhaps.
Mr. Insurance. I don't know. I can pretty much tell you that no, I'm not missing out. It wasn't for me. And I'm too much woman for the average Joe, by the way.
True.
You can't handle this shit.
Jamie, I'm telling you, that's why, my husband comparing his marriage to yours lately, I'm like, but what you don't understand, I'm like, is that I am the only thing that it could ever keep you interested this long. I'm like, seriously though.
Yeah, it's true.
And because you had the other thing,
which was
average. She was below average. She was.
You settled.
No, you know what he did? He took the road less traveled. He took the road of least resistance. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
She did everything. She had no opinion of her own. Oh. She had no style of her own. She had no wants of her own.
So she was like a little ball of clay.
She would literally be like, whatever you want to do, I will do that, and I am fine with that. And
bark like a dog.
Some men think that's amazing because it lets them do whatever they want in their life.
And they can turn their wife into whatever they want.
And she's happy to do so.
Yeah, and then it didn't work out.
He was not, that's not what he wanted. And so now he has me.
And he's like, you challenge me every day, woman.
Yes.
Yes, it's
and
true.
He's like,
Daryl still doesn't know what to do with me sometimes. He looks at me, he's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. I said something there. He goes, like the other day, we were on our way to some store, obviously, something benign. And I'm walking and I go, I'm like, it took me until I got this last mammogram how sloppy my boobs are. And he goes, don't you ever say that again.
See, and my husband, this is where he fails. Okay, Daryl, thank you for saying that. My husband was like, well,
He stopped, he turned around, he looked at me in the eyes. He goes, Jamie, if you ever say that about your perfect breasts again, I will be very angry with you. He goes, it is unacceptable that you said that. I am personally offended. And I was like, you're personally offended? And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, they're my boobs. I can say whatever I want. He goes, please don't call them sloppy in my presence. I beg of you. He goes, what are you even talking about? He goes, what does that even mean? I'm like,
well, you know what it means.
I'm like, they're flabby. They're just flabby. And he's like, okay.
At least you don't have mom's boobs like I do.
And so he's just like
giant teardrops.
Eventually he just has to go, I just have to just let it go, let God, because I don't know what you're even saying anymore.
Well, I love that about him.
I agree.
Because you could look like a troll and he would be all right with it.
Well, I have looked like a troll in the past and he was all right with it.
So that's what I mean.
I get mad at him. I get angry with him. I'm like, I can't believe you allowed that.
I know, huh?
God. And he's like, what? I go, just, you know what? Just shut up. I go, it makes me angry that you were like, oh, you look fine.
I love you no matter what you look like. Fine.
I just had a child and I look disgusting. And I'm like, and you said nothing.
Well, I mean, I think our interpretation of disgusting is not necessarily reality. Yeah. Because I've looked at pictures where we both look like, I would be like, Jamie, right? I get it. And you could do the same for me. Yes. It's basically when we look ill.
We look like little Victorian children.
We just,
so bad.
Like we all have that same look when we're just like, you look ill in this photo and it's not in a good way.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's I still love you and I still think you're beautiful, but I would agree that this is not your best photo.
And by the way, this is why women who have sisters are stronger in the world.
Thank you.
Because their sisters check them regularly.
And we also know that when you're checking me, it's for no other reason other than to just be like, let's just say how it is.
It's pure love.
Yeah. Like I'm not judging you and be like, ew, you ugly fucking bitch.
I'd be like, you know what? You are not going out looking like that, Stephanie.
Right.
Stop it. What are you thinking? Just like when you had Kermit legs at the concert.
But it was too late because I think we met.
I begged you to take them off.
Did I?
Yes.
I believe I did take them off.
She goes, Jamie, you're all Jamie. These aren't black. I go, those are like emerald green.
They were off black,
they were like green. And
but they were green in the light.
And you're like, I look like Kermit. I'm like, you do look like Kermit. Take them off. You're like, should I take them off? I'm like, immediately. What are you doing? You look ridiculous.
Well, that just goes to show you that
if you were with a friend,
Mom was still influencing me at that point because we thought we had to wear tights
with mini
under
skirts,
everything
with a mini skirt. And it was funny because if you think about a woman that you were friends with
and a smart heel, I think I was wearing a kitten
heel.
We're both rolling our eyes, people.
If you were with someone and you go, do I look like I have Kermit legs? And they don't have a sister, they'd be like, no, you look fine to me.
You look fine, no.
And in their brain, they're like, God, she does have Kermit legs. But she would never say it because she doesn't have a sister and she doesn't know that you're doing her a disservice by not being honest.
Because everybody's looking at you thinking you look like Kermit.
Yes.
Why am I lying to you?
Because you're afraid.
Thank you.
But you need a sister to do it.
But you need a sister.
You do.
You do.
And honestly,
or I know there's women out there who have best friends that are very like that too.
If you have a best friend you're not related to that's that honest, never let her go.
Exactly.
Because
there are women who they are rare.
So
they are rare. They are rare, but there are women who like that.
If you want my honest opinion on your outfit, you can send it to me and I will tell you.
Yeah. So one of the things I love about having a friend that's not a sister, and that it doesn't happen often, but why my bestie will tell me things about me, my personality, or the way I behave.
Okay.
And she will be dead honest with me.
See, and I don't do that.
No,
and I like your personality.
That's the difference between sisters. Well, and we're so alike too.
That's true.
So if you say something to me, it's most likely you do the same thing or something close, right?
Accurate.
And we were like, we don't. What's wrong with that?
Yes.
But a friend who isn't your symbiotic biological almost twin.
Yes.
They do see things about you.
And they're like, why are you such a bitch?
And you're not prepared for them to tell you if you ask. You know what I mean?
True.
So I do love that about Veronica. She will tell me things, and I have to be prepared for the answer.
Like, what do you mean? Why
now, she doesn't just out me and be like, hey, I'm going to tell you this.
No, it'll come up conversation.
Ask,
yes.
am I like, oh, was I being, well, she'll be like, well, you really?
Do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you want me to stroke your ego?
Yeah, she won't. She will not do the latter.
I like that.
So
about
I do
her.
love
That's
it, but
nice.
like I said, you have to be prepared for the answer.
Don't ask the question.
She's
if you
not
don't
cruel.
want the answer.
Yeah, she's not cruel, and she's not trying to hurt my feelings or anything. But she will be dead set, fucking honest. And yeah,
I love it.
It's rough.
Well, I'd be like, look, I don't want to know the answer to this, so I'm not going to ask you. But I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this.
Well, and the other thing it's good for though is that she will because I am so self-doubt. I have people don't understand when they're like, how can you possibly have low self-esteem? You come off so assertive and confident.
Just because you're assertive and confident doesn't mean you don't have low self-esteem.
I do bad, and so but there's very few people I'll reveal that to, of course, as well, because I have to portray myself as something. So anyway, she knows that about me, and so she's also very good at like setting me straight. One, she doesn't let me wallow. Good. She's not one of those people that like encourages me to wallow and feel sorry for me. No, absolutely not. But she will also prop me up in a good way to where I'm so like, she's like, stop it. What the fuck are you doing?
Gerald does that to me.
Yes. It'd be lovely if I had a spouse that did it, but I'll take a bestie.
That's fine.
And a sister.
As long as you get it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, with all of that being said, find you a friend who has a sister.
Yeah, well, we've always said on the show that we'll be your sister for you.
Oh, yeah, we'll totally be your sister. Call me. Well, no, don't call me. But you can DM me, or you can send me a picture and go, do my legs look like Kermit Frog legs?
Thank
and
you.
I'll be like, yeah, they do. Actually, don't wear tights. You don't need it. Stop it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, all right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to mention.
Well, I'm excited for the next episode of Golden Bachelor. Please listen to our mini episode, which we just started. I'm super excited about that.
I know. So excited.
And TV in general is getting exciting.
Finally, the strike is over. We get some
strike's
writers.
over.
No actors yet, but the writers are back in the building, which is nice.
But I mean, Your and I Entertainment does very
so different.
Yeah, I'm really big. I love reality TV pretty much, and so a lot of my favorite shows and things that I like to watch are coming up.
So nice.
Top Chef is getting ready to start again.
I heard it was in the spring.
I don't know. I mean, it could be, but traditionally I thought it started in November, but we'll find out.
We're going to find out.
It's all right. That's a long, their seasons are long.
They are like 20 episodes.
Like a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're that long, but they're long.
They're
like 13 to 15 episodes.
Yes.
They're very long.
So true. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.